everybody, my name is Kieran Rose and I am the Autistic Advocate, and I'm here again with Zoe and Nick. Now, I have no idea what we're going to be talking about this week or what questions that Zoe has in store. We've done myths for the past 2 weeks, but before you tell us, Zoe, before you spring the surprise on us, just for people that haven't seen our videos before, can you tell us just a quick bit about who you are and why you're doing this?
Hi, I'm Zoe. This is my mum, Nick.
Wave, Nick, wave.
And I'm 10 years old. And I came out in school about a year ago, and my friends accepted it really well. And I had some people who actually had autistic relations and understood how to treat us, and it was really nice.
That's cool. So why are we doing these videos? Why did you want to do them? Have you forgotten?
I wanted to do something for Autism Awareness Week, and also and there's people most people don't understand, and they ask us what is autism, and they say that I don't have it or that they're a little bit autistic, and I'm just sick of it.
So you wanted to educate some people, didn't you? That's really why you wanted to do this. Yeah, it's cool. And we've moved well out of Autism Awareness Week now, haven't we? Mm-hmm. Although we're still in April. I don't like April. Yeah, it's a bit meh. But
Nick, that's why my birthday.
No, your birthday's fine. It's just April's Autism Awareness Month. Oh yeah, the rest of the world drags it on for another 3 weeks, so we get bored and sick of it after a week and give up. But everybody else just seems to go on with it, and yeah, it's not fun. But anyway, so what are we doing this week?
Today we are doing sensory.
Okay.
I was just making. Yeah, sensory.
You just have to double check that one just to make sure. But we're doing sensory. Okay, cool. Right, so we're going to learn all about the sensory systems, are we?
That's a bit wrong.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Question number 1.
What is vestibular? It's one of the 8 senses that we're going to talk about. Well, the 3 that people don't honestly think about. So the sight, sound, smell, touch, sight, or is it hearing? I think yeah, hearing. I don't know if I mentioned that in price. I'm not going to do that. Anyways, vestibular, which the little toddler likes to do a lot, is when you hang upside down and you basically just hang upside down, and that's basically the sense of hanging upside down.
It's a lot about your balance, isn't it?
Yes.
Also, like spinning around a good bit.
It's the bit of your brain and body that stops you from falling over when you spin around, or when you hang upside down.
I finally found out if it's this chair head. Nice.
Just for anyone just tuning in, Zoe has not been drinking. So vestibular is the sense that keeps us upright, really, and stops us from falling over all the time, isn't it? Now, my vestibular is rubbish. Not just because of the sensory stuff, but because I've got something else going on called Meniere's disease, which means basically means I've got no balance because my ears have just given up on me, basically. So what's your balance like? Do you like hanging upside down? I know that.
Well, I'm very good at balance because I can spin around and I don't get dizzy, and I have
ever.
And because I've been climbing trees my whole half of my life, other half is sleeping, I have very good balance. For example, I should have fallen over 10 times more than I did when I went ice skating, and the only reason I fell over is because someone bumped into us. But they caught us, thankfully.
You like doing literally hanging as well, though, don't you? You like a trapeze bar, and you like playing on silks and hanging upside down from them.
And
wow.
the sofa.
And you like hanging upside down on the sofa.
I used to do that when I was little. I used to hang upside down and watch the television.
Yeah.
I did try to eat cornflakes upside down once, and it really didn't work very well.
Oh, you choked, didn't you?
Probably get eyes, no.
Do you know, I think I had the spoon upside down as well, so it just didn't work. I don't think I even got as far as my mouth. I wasn't very sensible as a child. Right then, so that's our vestibular sensory part of the sensory system. I can't speak. Vestibular part of the sensory system. So what's next?
Can sensory toys stop me picking my scabs or biting my nails and some things that we don't want to mention? Well, it depends what kind of sensory toy you have, because if it doesn't fulfill the sensory need that you get by picking the skin or biting the nails or whatever, if it doesn't give that same sensory stimulus, then you're just going to want to do this. And sometimes that you forget you have the sensory thing anyways, so you just do it anyways. This is me speaking. I'm not speaking for anyone else. It's just me speaking. I don't know if anyone else has like problems with this, but I do.
So what have you got in your pot there in terms of your sensory stuff that helps you with picking?
This one. Also this. So basically I use this.
Can you hold it closer to the camera, Zoe, so everyone can see?
This.
Oh, it's a fidget cube.
Like I can like pick it and it'll slide down, so I can keep picking it. I can pick this bit. I can like, I can like make my fingers it, and then I get the pressure from here, and I can just basically feel here.
So do you find that some things work depending on how you're feeling? Some one of the toys might work, but a different time another toy might work.
Yeah. I also have this band.
Okay. Is that like an elastic band?
No, it's
more like
cloth.
lycra.
It's cloth. Basically.
So it doesn't cut your blood supply off.
Who sent me?
Saskia.
Can you see that again?
Saskia.
Saskia. Thanks for Saskia for sending me this.
Cool. So why do you think that sensory toys can distract you from skin picking and things?
Because it's better, and also they're very interesting, and it's not just you that thinks that, it's all of your peers.
Everybody wants your sensory toys, do they?
Everybody loves sensory toys.
Everybody does. This
when I
is
had my sensory box, I had to limit it down to like 20 people because they were all crowding around, and I was like, I need to squeeze in, this is my box. And then people kept stealing stuff out of my box saying it was school property, and I'm like,
see when just poke your mum in the eye. That's her sight gone, by the way. They're one of her other senses. When I do training with Durham Police, and they have their own sensory box that they bring, because I did co-deliver the training with a police officer called Lisa, and she brings along her sensory box, but quite often there isn't enough stuff in there to go around, and I've literally seen grown adults have fights over who gets to pick up the sensory toys and who gets to fiddle and stuff. And so it's amazing that when so many people don't do it though, do they? And that's the thing, it's kind of, everyone like clicks pens and twiddles things and stuff like that, but actually if you give people a variety of stuff, it helps everybody. And this is the thing about us, we all have senses and we all have sensory needs, don't we?
Because for Happy Faces, we always are carrying around bags of sensory toys, ear defenders. That's what we sort of carry around in the
you should see me coming to this PlayStation, and I'm like,
fun stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, and then all the like, you know, the people who work there are like, woo, and I think it's just sort of everybody likes them and gets something from them, and I don't know why they're not just more mainstream.
Yeah. Well, they tried that with fidget spinners, and then lots of people complained, didn't they?
Well, fidget spinners aren't really sensory. Yes, they're cool. Yes, you can spin them around, but it doesn't give any sensory input.
It can visually as well.
Visually.
Yeah, I like looking at them, to be honest. I like when they're spinning.
Already?
Okay, next question.
You want to pick this time?
Ooh, do I get the pick one?
Yeah, you get to pick one. But I'm reading it out. Right.
This is like the draw for the FA Cup.
What is proprioceptive? This is one that I do lots. It's like planning trees. It's basically big muscle movements, like trying to contain a little toddler. You climbing things and like jumping jacks and any big muscle movement that kind of wears you out.
Yeah.
You also carry heavy things.
Yeah, you can say that again. I carry heavy things all the time. It's mainly one thing.
It's also knowing where you are in space and time, which is a really useful thing.
Like when you poke your mum in the eye.
Yeah, like when you're flailing your hands around, that means that you had a poor proprioceptive response there when you poked your mum in the eye because you had no idea how close you were to her.
Yep.
Whereas your mum had a really good proprioceptive response because she flinched quite quickly. And a pain response as well, probably. Yeah. So it's what stops us bumping into things as well, which is a useful skill to have, really, isn't it? And if you have really poor proprioceptive skills, do you know what usually you get a diagnosis of?
No.
Dyspraxia.
Just basically means that you bump into things quite a lot, and maybe you're a little bit. You can appear to be clumsy, but in actual fact, you're not clumsy. It's just that you have poor proprioception.
Okay.
Okay.
Next question.
I put that back in there. Sorry. Get that out of here. How is this? Oh, great. The one I thought was what is proprioceptive was actually what is vestibular.
We've done that.
We've done vestibular already.
Oh God.
This is why.
You're a terrible quiz master. I've been telling everyone how you've been planning this and getting everything organised, and then here you are reading the same questions over and over again. Shocking.
Did I have it already done in reception?
No.
No.
I haven't found in reception. It's not in.
You're not supposed to be looking for it.
I want to see
It's inside you.
In the inside. I think that's the one that you just gave me to throw out.
Oh, Mary.
Oh my goodness.
This is.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you spend 2 weeks stuck inside a house.
Can you please edit this?
Oh no, this is all staying in.
So, how do you feel on the inside at the minute?
Go on me.
Right, over there.
I'm gone. Okay.
And breathe.
Does this out, please.
Straight face. Serious face. Serious face on.
Sorry. Okay. What is interoception before I explode with that thing?
I don't know. What is interoception?
Internal feelings like laughter and heartbeat and worry that I'm getting this wrong.
You're not getting it.
I know, I know. It's basically internal feelings like hunger, thirst, heat, cold, heartbeats, movement of your diaphragm.
Good answer. What about poo? Interoception tells you when you need to go to the toilet. So that feeling that you feel when you need to go to the, and wheeze as well, not just poos, wheeze as well. I'm going to keep saying poo because you're obviously really embarrassed every time I say poo. So I'm just going to keep saying the word poo over and over and over again until your head pops. But interoception tells us when we need to go to the toilet as well. So if you have poor interoception, what might that mean?
Serious. You're going to make me say it. You
No,
can't.
you don't just have to talk about poo. You could talk about any of the other things that you've mentioned, not just poo, because I'm saying poo repeatedly.
You can't go. Oh, God.
What if you were hungry and you had poor interoception?
You would probably die of hunger.
Well, you just sort of wouldn't necessarily realise. So I know a few people that need prompting that they need to eat. Otherwise, they will just forget.
And other people can't stop eating because they don't know when they're full because their stomach doesn't tell them because the message doesn't get through. So they will just keep eating and eating and eating. Unless someone stops them, then they'll just turn into someone from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and probably pop. But it happens. Yeah. Augustus Gloop, wasn't it? Wasn't he the one that ate and ate and ate?
No, that Well, the one who blew up like the balloon was Violet Beauregard.
Mm.
The one who guzzled down chocolate and then he drowned in it was Augustus Gloop.
Yeah, so I think he probably had really, really poor interoception, or he was just greedy.
I think he was just a Roald Dahl character.
Stop filling in stereotypes, Zoe. Okay, so interoception is the messages that get passed around inside our body, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Do we have another question, or are you just going to lick your lips at me? Oh, you haven't introduced us to your teddies. Who are your teddies? You told me before, but everybody watching doesn't know.
Mr. Bear and Fluffles. This is the one I've had since I was born. This one is only about a month old.
Oh.
Because you like fluffy things.
Yeah, we're going to get to that later.
Oh, wait, okay.
Don't jump ahead, Nick. What's this one?
Why are you getting so close?
That's not space.
Okay, now we've moved on to that question. What positive sensory things do I do?
We've got everything out again. Here is my world.
Well, for a start, I have these.
Okay. Is that is that a glitter ball I can see there?
Like a squeezy thing.
Oh, one of those gel balls. Sorry, I was just persistently coughing. Excuse me.
I've got some magnetic beads.
Oh, I like those.
And
When you
I've got
pull them and they
some
just give.
Yeah.
a very hypnotic thing. Find me a flat surface to put it on.
You
I
might need
think
to move.
where your bear's head is in shot. No, okay.
That's like a glitter ball, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
And then I've got the very, very cute, very, very cute. Is it on the right? Yeah. Okay. The very, very cute pea pod, which it has like a little.
Oh, you can squeeze the peas out.
And then he has.
And they've got smiley faces.
No, only the middle one does.
Oh,
the rest is sad peas.
the other two have no facial expressions.
No, they have no
We're out of
face.
focus.
You are out of focus. Oh, you've zoomed back in.
We're back.
It's because you zoomed in with the pea pod.
And then we do a lot more than that, don't we? We have
Fluffies, we have fluffies, we have lots of fluffies. I mean, if you look in my bag right now,
full of fluffy things.
Fluffy stuff everywhere. I like kind of smooth, kind of, you know, like when you get
I like the table.
no, you know, like when you get tags on like clothes and things, but they're smooth, they're not rough ones.
Yeah.
I like those.
Like a computer screen,
No, like literally tags.
like marble. Like a
I like marble. Marble's cool. Marble's cold.
white,
That's nice.
whiteboard.
Mm.
What else do you like? You like your trampoline?
I like my trampoline. It depends. It depends, but I do like when like the toddler sits on my chest.
You like a bit of deep pressure, don't you?
Yeah.
And being squished.
And cuddled. Hang on. I also like the cushions being right on the chair.
It's irritating when they're not, isn't it? I like scratching, not like cat scratching, like we were talking about before when we were off camera, but actual scratching. I like it when other people scratch my head.
I like scratching, except I have dermatographia, which makes it come out in like hives.
Ah, that's not good. And then when they come out in hives, do you pick?
No. Basically, it's basically
You
like
don't
you
know
can
that.
write something on yourself and it will appear.
Oh, that's impressive. That's a kind of superpower, really, isn't it? You could write your shopping list on your own.
I can write notes.
No, I'm going to put this up and then just wait.
It will come out by the end of the filming with it. Right. Okay. So they're all the things that you do. Nick, do you do anything?
Well, I'm sitting here with me fiddle toy.
Uh-huh.
I have to say, I've noticed, because we've been holding the training over Zoom for Happy Faces.
You can have the heart
I've noticed out of everybody on those videos, I am the only one that does not sit still.
Yeah.
At all. And I'm always like,
It's okay.
with my hair,
It's okay.
like this.
Uh-huh.
And then I do that.
Oh
a
Do you know,
lot.
it's funny because I do this constantly. You
I
can't,
do-
because my hands are off camera,
You can't say.
yeah. Because
because you
I'm
can't see. And then under the table, my legs are jigging around. If I jig too much, the camera jigs around, so I have to kind of hold it in. So I
Yeah.
literally sit here twiddling my thumbs like this.
I
And I've
don't
done that since I was little.
Yeah. I do, yeah. And I do a lot of messing with the hair.
Mm.
And
I mess with my hair, so I haven't got any left. I mess too much.
Oh yeah, we do this as well, don't we, huh?
Oh, yeah.
I do that. I do the Spock thing all the time.
Yeah.
But can you do the
You've got to do the little finger out.
I have to think about it because I haven't done it before.
Yeah, like that.
Okay, right. We've established we're all very strange. Do we have another question? You've got a very full bowl there. Looks like you've got loads of questions still in there.
Still 4 left.
All right, okay.
Three's a big thing.
Oh, the ones on this kind of paper were sent to us by Kerry and David. Thank you for that video call the other day.
Oh, we've had outside it. Is that David from the Centre for Life?
Yeah, and Kerry.
And Kerry from the North East Autism Society.
What
Okay.
senses are affected by autism?
That's David's question.
Oh,
All this.
oh. So with autism, I've mainly met. I don't know if there's any other different circumstances, but I've mainly met people with either very high sense of smell, sight, all of the 8 senses, and people with very poor sense of the senses. And I've never seen someone with someone, well, an autistic someone who has this exact balance and doesn't have that at least one sense that is higher than anyone.
Neurotypical people.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I mean, I think it's really difficult to actually separate our sensory system from autism because it's all wrapped up together so very, very tightly, because it's about autism is basically, it's how our brain and body works, but that our senses are so important to that you can't pick it apart. So I think the two actually kind of are wrapped up very, very closely together. Yeah. So you said that you don't know, you've never met anyone who's autistic that doesn't have a kind of balanced sensory system. But I think when people don't know that they're autistic, sometimes they don't realize that they have weak sensory areas or hypersensory areas or hyposensory areas, as they're called. So it's kind of when you get to kind of my age and you don't know that you're autistic, quite often you can not get used to things, but things affect you quite negatively often, but you don't realize that they're affecting you negatively. So that can be quite hard to deal with. Is that anything like that ever happened to you, that you haven't realized that something maybe has been harming you or hurting you, and you never understood that until someone pointed it out?
Yeah, I mean, I pick myself constantly.
Hmm.
Like when I'm not looking, because I have a very high pain threshold. Cracked my head open once, never felt it.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got scars from how I've got scars here. I don't know if you can see them, but I've got scars here from when I've been picking, and I haven't realised. I'm not gonna say whose fault it is, but I think you know. It's not my mum's.
No.
So
When you get stressed.
You do a lot of sort of sensory seeking stuff, and I think particularly because you can't feel pain, you don't realise that you're doing it in the way that other people would realise they were doing it.
Yeah.
Until
that makes sense.
There's blood, and then that's a different sensory reaction because it's then wet.
That's true. It's very true. I think lots of non-autistic people don't really understand how important that sensory system is to us, and how important it is that they don't dismiss us when we kind of say that things hurt and that, that we find things uncomfortable and things like that. And quite often they kind of tell us, oh, it's okay, you'll be fine, when in actual fact it's not fine at all sometimes. Did you find that noises hurt you? Like loud noises and sharp noises and things? Yeah. I'm like that as well.
Once I was glad I was sick on sports day because there were 7 air horns and really loud music. Whenever I've been in sports day, I've been sick out of stress and fear.
Mm-hmm.
I have melted down. I have shut down, and you can hear it from several streets away.
You're really affected by it, you find it really
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do as well.
When the guy was hammering yesterday on the house that is connected to ours, boy, did that give me a headache, and it really hurt the toddler, and we had to get Bluetooth headphones that connected to the telly to get her to even just sit for a minute and get our mind off it, and it was really awful.
Oh, bless.
Once Mum went round, but, you know.
I think that's the thing as well. I think I find that a lot of children are dismissed when they say something like really hurts or something really bothers them.
Thinking of an incident
but
right now.
If I think about the adults that I know, if they say it hurts or it really bothers them, they're listened to more.
Yeah, or at the very least, they have the power to remove themselves from those situations.
Yeah.
Whereas children don't. Children are tend to be forced to stay in them, don't they? And it's...
There's a football club right up from here, and a couple of years, maybe months ago, there was this really big party. People were swearing. It was really loud, and I was trying to get a seat, and all I could hear was.
Yeah. That was that loud that you blew your microphone out.
You're like, oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Stop dismissing my sensory needs. But no, you're absolutely right, because where I live, there's a rugby club over the back of us, and in concert, they have the concert festival every year. It's not at the rugby club anymore, it's moved, but every year it was just all, until like 1 a.m, all you would get was dumph, 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 and then lots of drunk people coming past your house like an hour after it had finished. So yeah, no, I completely get that. And it's hard, isn't it? Because like your mum said, because people dismiss your need because they don't experience it, so they just assume it's okay for everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, Miss McKenna was a fabulous teacher. She warned me and made sure that this class was out on the field when the fire alarm was being tested. She wasn't allowed to, but she did, and she helped me, and I really liked it.
Good. No, that's really cool. That's really good.
I really
Best teacher.
Miss McKenna. I really miss her.
Aww.
She's probably watching this.
Shout out to Miss McKenna.
Try not to cry.
Right, have we got another question?
Oh, it's another one. I think it's from Kerry.
No.
Does any sensory input cause you pain?
We've slightly covered that.
I think we covered that one, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we covered that.
Yeah, we'll skip that one. Sorry, Kerry. We'll move on. We'll ignore
Sorry,
your questions.
Kerry. I mean, you can give us more questions next week. I'm sure it'll be fine. Can sensory toys stop me?
We're running out of questions now.
That's it. This is the last one.
Oh, make it a good one. I want it to be a good one. Is it the best question you've got?
This is one I made up from the point of view of my mum. Why does my autistic child not eat or try new things?
Well, I know, but like...
Other people might not.
Go
on then. Why do you think?
Because maybe, like, for example, when I was eating steamed peppers a couple of days ago, maybe even weeks, I really hated them because of the texture and the taste. What I did is I smothered them in tomato ketchup. That gets rid of the taste and the texture, and it makes food bearable.
Tomato ketchup does. I have tomato ketchup on nearly everything, not ice cream. I draw the line at ice cream.
Ew, that would be monkey's blood.
It's not quite the same taste, is it? But no, I have tomato ketchup on nearly everything. Even roast dinner, I'll have tomato ketchup with it.
You're living the life.
I am living the life, exactly. But it's for exactly the same reasons, because it takes the taste away of things from. Because I don't really like green vegetables, but I know how good they are for me. So if I put ketchup on them, it makes them bearable.
And then,
Fluffy agrees.
Fluffle.
Fluffle, fluffy, fluffle, fluffle.
But there's so much like food and eating, isn't there?
Yeah.
there's texture and there's smell and there's
visual and
visual.
I mean, I won't eat salmon because
auditory as well.
Yeah.
Hearing other people eat or hearing yourself eat.
and then there's even with knives.
I cannot bear when people eat baked beans or Brussels sprouts, especially my nana.
Let's go.
That's a whole different sensory thing. That's your smell. But there's even, you can have, I mean, even like proprioception and stuff like that, because, and vestibular as well, because picking up knives and forks and getting the knife and fork to, or getting the fork at least to your mouth can be an issue for some people, so which can then put them off. Is so if you have a bit of a restricted diet, or you have a really restricted diet, is it always sensory stuff that causes that though? Always for you? So for some autistic people, it can be
some of them is smell.
for some autistic people, it can be about anxiety as well, and being worried, and about the food. What you put in your mouth is basically the only thing you can have control over as a child.
Yeah. I'm proud to say that to this day I have not drunk like anything except from juice. Like literally, I've not tasted lemonade. I've not tasted Coke. I've not tasted anything. Nothing with alcohol in it either.
I don't know.
No.
But yeah, and then there's another layer where I know children who've got like sort of delayed lateral movements in their jaw, and that's about sort of even just being able to move stuff around in your mouth. Because if you can't get that food through your molars, you're not going to be able to make it small enough
to swallow. Yeah.
And then that's going to cause you pain, or quite a lot of autistic people seem to have reflux and issues around acid, and then you can start associating pain with eating.
With eating and
swallow my food whole.
I recommend you chew.
I can chew things that aren't small. Like if they're like smooth and very small, then I'll swallow them whole without even chewing. Like a small grape.
Don't swallow grapes.
No.
Only tiny ones.
Chew grapes.
I don't swallow grapes whole, please do not.
We're not endorsing swallowing grapes whole.
No, let's not recommend that.
I chew most of my food except
Oh.
stuff that's not meant to be chewed, like toffee, for example, or like where there's a wedge toast.
Yes. But you suck them.
Okay.
Right?
I do suck them. I don't just go and I go.
I mean, your diet's mainly beige-ish.
Waffles, fish fingers.
Are beige.
No, they're not. They're yellow and orange. I have pink juice right here.
Pink juice. That's a common theme we have, isn't it?
Yes. All my children are pink juicers.
Pink juice. And crisps.
Beige.
They're
So
yellow.
if Zoe, if your mum got stressed about the fact that you didn't eat all the things that she put in front of you, would that help you to eat more, or would that make you more reluctant to eat things, do you think?
I need it for my mum.
Oh. We don't stress about food.
No. That's why I said if.
Because there's no...
But I would eat it for my mum.
I'm going to remind you that next time I put a Brussels sprout in front of you. I've got video evidence of it now.
You're going to have thousands of witnesses.
Yeah, because I don't want to smell it.
You don't want to even think about Brussels sprouts.
So, all right then, if not your mum, if you can't imagine that your mum would pressure you, if it was someone else and they put food in front of you which you really couldn't eat, would it stress you out if they were like, come on then, Zoe, eat it up, it was good for you, you know, and they were encouraging you, or maybe saying you couldn't get down from the table until you'd eaten things?
I'd go off to the toilet and then pretend to forget my lunch is there and just run.
So yes, it would stress you out.
Stress you out. If we're running.
So lots of mums and dads get really worried when their kids have a restricted diet, and the kind of advice that I always give to them is, firstly, obviously seek out a medical opinion if you were that worried, but also don't stress, because if your child's growing and putting on weight, then you know they're obviously happy, and you can supplement vitamins and things like that, and there's different ways and means of getting good things inside.
You take a
But
multivitamin, don't
seriously,
you?
eat your 5 a day. It doesn't matter if you eat like apples, bananas, grapes, or whatever you like. You can put whatever you want on them. Just eat your 5 a day.
Is tomato ketchup one of your 5 a day?
You know this, me too well.
That's like the 5.5, isn't it?
Yes, like
5.2.
it's tomato.
It's sort of tomato.
Sort of tomato.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay.
Right, this has been the most random one we've done so far, but
Yeah.
that was the
I
last.
think we're going to be more serious next episode.
Yeah, we'll be serious in the next one. Okay, we'll be calm.
Serious. Says the girl who's holding 2 bears, but you know what?
And a rainbow.
Bears can be serious.
If you meet a real one.
They get quite cross. Okay, the bears are staring. That's quite freaky. Right. So we're going to call it a day there on that note. That was the last question. So we have been talking about the Century System. So thank you very much for tuning in again this week. Thank you to Zoe and Nic. Do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Bye-bye.
See you later, everyone. Take care.